Hi, we're here with Travis Morrison, Director of IT for New Belgium Brewing. It's the fourth largest craft brewer, and we're talking about their journey to the cloud, to a private cloud, to how you figure out those costs. Welcome, Travis. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Larry. Like you mentioned, we're the fourth largest craft brewer in the U.S. currently, and we have been steadily growing ever since we were founded back in 1991. And we recently had a new brewery built in Asheville, North Carolina that we were really excited about, and that required us to expand our IT infrastructure quite a bit. One from centralizing our enterprise applications that are going to feed both brewery sites, our other breweries in Fort Collins, Colorado, and as well as Stand Up Asheville, which was a completely greenfield build for us, where in Fort Collins we've slowly piecemealed everything together. So we had a lot of complexity that we needed to figure out, and we had to determine, what portions do we want to put in the cloud, which portions do we have to host on site. So we really took a hybrid approach to that, and adjusted that model as we've started producing beer in Asheville a few years ago, and really kind of right-sizing our spend on commute.
So the North Carolina plant was basically a greenfield, where the other one in Colorado was one where it was sort of spliced together over time?
Correct. We've been at this site in Fort Collins since 1995, and think of a Lego set that you add pieces on as time goes on. Sometimes there's new pieces that don't fit right with the old pieces, but you cobble it together and make it work. And you have to have a lot more tribal knowledge to know where some of the cabling goes to this room to that room, where in Asheville, we have the time to really plan everything out and build out one time.
So you walk me through decision. I believe you went managed cloud first, and then you kind of went more private cloud / on-prem. I guess walk me through the two decisions and how the new brewery impacted that.
Sure. At the time, we have an IT team of roughly 25 people. We weren't looking to add any more headcount at the time, and so we really wanted to explore going all into the cloud. We know that takes some management and coordination. So we were looking to keep headcount neutral, really make sure that we were going to be able to scale to meet the needs of a second manufacturing facility. And also we had a lot of infrastructure that work that needed to be done at the new brewery. So to kind of take the workload off the team, managed cloud made the most sense for us at the time. And as we stood up the brewery, that project was behind us from a build out standpoint. That's when we went back and really looked into where we settled in from a spend and value that we were getting from the managed cloud, and determined that we could keep headcount neutral as well as bring back all of that compute and manage it ourselves. We had a 66% reduction in operating costs year over year by bringing it back in-house, as well as providing our coworkers with a higher level of service. We've been able to leverage both of our locations from a high availability and DR site, where we were just running into some logistical issues with the managed cloud. So we've kind of removed all those roadblocks and have been happy ever since.
So when you were managed cloud, I guess, what were some of the surprises of the economics of it? What were some of the benefits? What were some of the negatives?
Yeah, I mean, some of the benefits, obviously we were able to scale up and down very quickly. So we were able to add disk, compute, kind of a la carte, whether we wanted to, we tried out managed firewalls, things that, so it was nice to kind of pick and choose and from a settling in standpoint, we were able to be, our provider was super flexible with us. They were a great partner. So that flexibility allowed us to then get us to kind of a stable state. And then we were able to kind of go back and do a better ROI on the economics of the model.
And you're private cloud now. So how did you go about selecting a vendor, and how did you go about thinking the economics through?
Yeah, we we always evaluate partners that are out there, but Dell has been a great partner for us, and they did all of our infrastructure in the Asheville facility, as well as the Fort Collins facility. So from a management synergies, them being a great partner and understanding our business and what we're trying to get to, we selected Dell to be our partner. Current offerings and hyperconverge really from an economics standpoint made sense and allowed us to get an ROI within less than a year.
So the economic case for you was really about, you were able to keep headcount. You didn't have to add headcount, so that was a big plus on the operating model. What were some of the other things that favored the private cloud on-prem sort of approach?
Yeah, I mean, even just a minor VM or highly virtualized VMware shop, having different versions of VMware between our Fort Collins facility, Asheville facility, and our managed cloud facility allowed us to not be as flexible or leverage our facilities as we wanted. So by even removing that roadblock, it opened up a lot of opportunities for us to provide the business with a more cost-effective solution, more highly available, as well as the IT team to manage everything more efficiently.
And as far as compute goes for a brewery, do you have spikes? Like, I guess there isn't exactly like a Christmas rush like a retailer, but what are some of the compute and storage fluctuations you would see?
Yeah, I mean, we have a fairly, we're 24/7 manufacturing facility, so we're brewing beer year round, but we do have the beer drinking spikes. But as far as from a compute standpoint, we pretty much have steady loads between the facilities, and we're able to model that out and make sure that we right size. So for us, it made sense since we don't have to manage huge spikes or troughs in the compute.
Okay, so that kind of helped the private cloud case a lot more too, because you didn't have those unpredictable scaling issues.
That's correct.
Okay. What about the rest of the landscape in terms of applications? Are they SaaS, public cloud, or do you run those on-prem too? What does the application landscape look like?
Yeah, for us, I mean, we always evaluate the cloud, but it's not a cloud first strategy. It's a cloud if it's the right fit strategy. So we definitely leverage Office 365 in the cloud. Just made sense to move those workloads there. It's better, easier to manage. The cost model is definitely there. We have a few other SaaS applications that make sense, but a majority of our applications are managed in our private data center, and a lot of the manufacturing software needs to be local and close to the manufacturing process from a latency standpoint. And so we manage all those workloads locally in Fort Collins and in Asheville.
Are there any tips that you can provide in terms of, other enterprises who are kind of weighing the cloud versus on-prem versus, I mean, let's face it, it's a multi-cloud sort of multi-approach world right now. But can you offer tips to see, as companies are thinking through this decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, with anything IT, it always depends. But for us, I mean, I think, a small shop that's not doing any manufacturing, I would lean more cloud first. The mid markets where it gets interesting, I think that's where you can, you really have to look at the cost model And for us at the time, we didn't know exactly what our workloads were going to look like once we stood up another facility. So I think finding a partner that is going to be flexible in you to right size it, where you can do that full analysis of managed versus private cloud, that was a huge bonus for us. So we still co-locate all of our equipment there. They've been such a great partner for us. That the headcount piece is always, it's hard to find good talent depending on where you are within the country. So that's always a factor. If you have staff that can manage the equipment, that always makes it an interesting proposition. And then to me, you mentioned it, kind of the cyclical nature of the business. If you don't have those big spikes and you don't need to scale super quick or for unforeseen reasons, then I think that's where, private cloud, you can keep that cost model down without having to worry about that burst.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. Good insight.
You bet. Thanks for having me.